Good evening, everyone. In less than 2 hours, the voting in the parliamentary elections of today will end. Once the polling stations close, the electoral officials will begin counting and tabulation of votes. Further on, the data will be input in the state automated information system elections, alleged. So soon we shall be able to see the first preliminary results of the voting. So far, the turnout is more than 1,475,000 voters, which is more than 48%. For the sake of comparison, in the early parliamentary elections on the 11th of July 2021 until 1900, 1.3 million voters have turned out at polling stations, which means 43%. In the second round of presidential elections, the turnout was more than 1,600,000 voters, or 52.2%. Just like in previous years, women are the most active. They represent 54% of the voters who turned out at the polling stations. Now, the age groups. Voters aged between 36 and 45 were the most active, 23%, followed by those aged between 46 and 55 years of age, 17.8%. Now, the polling stations for the voters from the left bank. Until now, we saw slightly more than 11,300 voters at the polling stations. CEC was notified by the General Police Inspectorate about emergency relocation of the polling stations for the voters from the left bank in the reserve locations in order to ensure safety and security of those citizens who are in that area. According to the protocols, if within maximum 2 hours the location of the polling station cannot be brought back to the working condition, another location is identified and the voters are notified about the new location. There was an intervention of the EOD team. They have conducted the inspections, and all polling stations have restarted their activity pursuant to the EOD inspection. The voters are still there and the votes are cast. In the polling stations abroad, more than 233,000 voters have voted in the polling stations abroad. From the previous briefing, the polling station in China was closed at 2100 local time. Now the polling stations in India and Kazakhstan are about to end their activity. At 2000 Moldovan time, the polling stations in the United Arab Emirates and Azerbaijan are going to be closed. Based on the information available to the CEC, so far the most active voters are in Romania in the polling stations in Bucharest, where more than 2,600 voters have cast their vote. In Verona, in Italy, 2,300 voters. Parma and Modena, more than 2,200 voters have cast their vote. In Moscow, Russian Federation, in Iași, Romania, Vicenza, Treviso, Rome, Italy. There, up to 2,100 voters have turned out and cast their vote. Previously, We have notified you about the bomb threats in the polling stations abroad. All these turned to be fake. The activity of the polling stations has restarted, and now they function normally. We thank all those citizens who patiently waited until the end of their verification and then cast their vote. Now, about information for the voters in the election day. There's the call center of the CC. Today it was very busy. Total number of calls has already exceeded 1,100 calls. Most of them came from the citizens, about 67%. The calls concerned the voting procedure, the documents that could be used for voting, the voting procedure abroad, voting for the citizens from the left bank of Dnistro, and also the mobile ballot box, or the address of the polling station, and also questions about voters' registry. About the information provided by the General Police Inspectorate, we see an increased number of the infringements of the process conducted. The operational data submitted until now tell us that 217 infringements or incidents have been recorded. Out of them, 86 cases of photos being taken of the ballot paper. This is quite a large number. 10 cases concern the electoral promotions, which is not allowed today. 9 cases of reasonable suspicion of bribing, 7 cases of organized transportation of voters, 4 cases of unauthorized electoral posters, 7 cases of deterioration of ballot paper, 6 cases of violation of the voting right. Another case has been documented of a ballot paper being taken out of the polling station, and 46 cases of voters being absent from the registry. We follow closely information which appeared in the public space about organized transportation of voters both inside the country and abroad. Electoral officials are trained to document all cases of violation of electoral law. The Commission cooperates with the relevant authorities, and cases will have an outcome in which all circumstances will be elicited. We remind you that organized transportation of voters to the polling station on the voting day, aiming to determine them to cast their vote, is an administrative infringement. The fine is 60 to 120 conventional units for individuals and 180 up to 300 conventional units for legal entities. And in some cases, from 6 months to 12 months prohibition to conduct particular activities may be applied. We would like to remind the voters that votes may be cast until 2100 Moldovan time. The Electoral Bureau can decide to extend the voting time with maximum 2 hours to allow those who are in line in that polling station to cast their vote and exercise their right. We encourage all those who haven't been to the polling station yet to make use of the remaining 2 hours. Go to the polling stations because the choice does matter. At 19:30, the meeting of the Central Electoral Commission is going to be conducted. the subject of the decision of the Appellate Court Center from the 28th of September current year will be discussed. Thank you very much for your attention.